At this time, I call the October 17th, 2022 Planning Board meeting to order. If y'all would, let's stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we'll go into item 2A, approval of the minutes. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes? Are there any changes, corrections?
Vote to approve.
All right, we got a motion to approve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Okay, thank you. All right, we'll move on into the public hearings. At this time, we'll move into the public hearing items. Public hearings are a time for petitioners to present requests and for the public to state their concerns and voice opinions in favor or in opposition of these requests. If you wish to speak, please come to the podium, sign in on the sheet provided, and state your name and address for the record before speaking in regard to the request. Our public hearing tonight is item 4A. Okay,
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good evening, Board. I am submitting the agenda abstract and the supporting documents into the official record of the town. Town staff and community have gained significant experience using the Land Development Ordinance since its adoption in December 2016 and a better understanding of its intent and proper function. As a result, this amendment seeks to harness that experience in the form of clarifications and technical corrections to the LDO's language. The proposed changes are as follows. Section 1, Article E, Floating Zoning Districts. An edit has been made to correct the zoning districts NMU and UMU to CMU and EMU per CTA 2022-04. Section 2, Article F, Use Regulations. Edits have been made to the permitted use table and are included as Attachment A. Edits include the addition of the convenience store use to TCR and RMU with the caveat that neither zoning district will permit gas pumps as an accessory to the convenience store use. Language to this effect has been added to the convenience store use standards. Removal of the personal service use from all zoning districts. The personal service use has been reorganized into its separate elements to modernize it and improve ease of use. The term and its usage have been corrected throughout the LDO, specifically Articles F and S. The flex space use has been removed from the CC and HI zoning districts, as it was deemed inappropriate due to the intensity of the use. The home occupation use has been added to the O&I zoning district to allow for legal nonconforming residences to have home occupations in the O&I zoning district, as they do in the commercial zoning districts. Language to this effect has been added in the home occupation use standards. The section reference for vertical mixed use has been corrected. It previously referenced the special events section. It now directs the user to the 3 appendices where vertical mixed use is permitted. Vertical mixed use has been added as an allowable use to the general commercial zoning district. Language has been added to the townhouse development section to permit some alley-loaded lots to front onto open space as long as pedestrian access is provided to the front of the lot. Edits have been made throughout the LDO to clarify and better differentiate between the term accessory buildings and accessory structures. Historically, these terms have been used interchangeably, which has led to user confusion. The term accessory buildings shall now only be used in reference to the sale of accessory structures, and the term accessory structure shall refer to any structure subordinate to a primary structure that is required to meet the North Carolina Building Code. This correction has been made throughout the LDO, specifically Articles F, G, and S, and Appendix B. Language has been added to the use standards for flex space that better defines the use in 2 permissible districts. Facade requirements have been removed as they are established more appropriately in Article H. Allowances for ceiling height have been separated by zoning district. Language regarding the conversion of an existing building to flex space and language about the applicability of the standards for flex space have been removed as they were deemed unnecessary. An allowed home occupation use has been changed from barbershop/beauty salon to salon, and the definition for which has been clarified. Language has also been added to this section that exempts remote or work from home jobs from a home occupation permit. Section 3, Article G, Lot and Structure Provisions. The accessory building / accessory structure clarification has been continued in this section. Edits have been made to both the rear yard zoning lot setback and the side yard zoning lot setback tables to clarify which portions of an in-ground pool should be included in the calculations for setbacks, included herein as attachments B and C. A clerical error has been corrected in section 9-1303 where the word barbed was spelled barb. Section 4, Article H, Building Type and Architectural Standards. Language allowing for an applicant to request an administrative adjustment in the event of an existing building is being added onto or renovated and the applicant proposes to exceed the 40% allowed to match individual elements of the existing structure to provide design continuity. The section regarding facade materials has been reorganized for modernization and ease of use. Certain types of high-quality metal panels have been added to the permitted preliminary facade materials section. Language has been added to this section clarifying when parapets are required on non-residential buildings. The shopping center standards have been reorganized for clarity and ease of use. Standards have also been added to this section to encourage a higher quality of facade for shopping centers. An error that included hip roofs in the restriction on the ends of roofs facing a public right-of-way has been corrected, and an option to request an exemption for the end of the gable roof to face a right-of-way with additional primary facade elements has been added. The section on permissible colors on non-residential buildings has been amended to remove the percentage. The remaining language was deemed sufficient to achieve the intended result. The section on industrial building facades has been amended to remove the requirement for rear facades that face a residential zoning district to meet the primary building facade standards. As a 50-foot buffer is required between industrial and residential uses, staff feels that it is sufficient to screen an industrial building, and therefore enhanced facades are not required. Section 5, Article I, Environmental Protection Standards. Language in Section 9-1407, Soil Erosion and Sedimentation Control, and Article S, Interpretations and Definitions, has been revised to reflect updates required by the NC Department of Environmental Quality. NCDEQ revisions reflect changes made to the North Carolina Administrative Code, as well as improvements and clarifications. Section 6, Article J, Subdivision Regulations. Language has been added to Section 9-1458 that permits subdivision in the case that the future lot would only have access to a private right-of-way or a permanent access easement. This exception allows for minor subdivision of lots with frontage on existing private roads in the ETJ. Section 7, Article M, Thoroughfares, Drainage, and Utility Standards. Language has been added that allows the town to require connection to public utilities in a limited number of cases that are established in the section. This is based on an update to the North Carolina General Statutes. Language has been added to Section 9-1615 that allows wells instead of connection to the public water supply in very limited cases. This is based on an update to the North Carolina General Statutes. Section 8, Article N, Parking, Loading, and Lighting Design Standards. Language has been added to Section 9-1653 that provides uses in the heavy industrial zoning district the ability to locate parking in the front of the primary structure in exchange for an increased landscape buffer. The separation of front employee parking and rear loading areas better aligns with accepted industrial configurations. The parking occupancy rates table and all references to it have been removed. This table has not been useful as originally intended and created conflicts within the shared parking section. Language has been added that would allow a project to apply for an administrative adjustment to reduce the number of parking bays normally required if it can be proven that the parking is not required due to the availability of shared parking with another use or property. Language has been added that would allow a project to request an administrative adjustment to apply a different parking calculation for the use if it can be justified that the requested parking calculation is more applicable to the proposed use. Section 9, Article O, Landscaping and Tree Protection Standards. Section 9-1702 has been rewritten and reorganized to simplify the requirements to provide for ease of use. This section is one of the most heavily used by both staff and the public, and the intention of the rewrite is to clarify any confusion in interpretation of the section. Section 10, Article Q, Procedures and Administration. The requirement for the neighborhood meeting in both the zoning map amendment section and the special use permit section have been amended to prohibit the holding of the neighborhood meeting before formal submittal has been made to staff. Language has been added to the annexation and preliminary major subdivision plat procedure sections that requires the submittal of a petition to include all the items as listed on the application. This has been the standard practice of staff and is now proposed to be codified. The master plan procedure section has been modified and cleaned up to modernize its requirements. As the use of master plans expands, the language of its requirements needed to be updated. An error in the variance procedure section has been amended, where it originally indicated the Cape Fear River Basin, and it has been amended to indicate the Neuse River Basin. Section 11, Article S, Interpretations and Definitions. The definitions containing references to accessory structures and/or accessory buildings have been updated according to the amendments made to the rest of the LDO. A definition for accessory building, sale has been added. Chickens have been removed from the agricultural animals definition, as there are separate use standards for residential chicken coops. The definitions containing references to the personal service use have been updated according to the amendments made to the rest of the LDO. A definition for salon/spa has been added. Section 12, Appendix A, DC1 and DC2 form-based districts. Several edits have been made to Appendix A, included herein as Attachment E. The two sections for DC1 and DC2 have been combined, and the differences between the two districts are now included under their particular subheading. Section 13, Appendix B, RMU, CMU, and EMU form-based districts. An edit has been made to correct an effective date that was erroneously listed as June 6, 2022, with the approval of CTA 2022-04. Edits related to the updates made to the accessory structure and accessory buildings are included herein. The requirement for reverse angle parking in the CS 100 to 90-60 road assembly has been removed. Section 14, Appendix E, Certifications. A certification for annexations with provision for municipal services upon owner extension of water and sewer services has been added. I am happy to answer any questions.
Okay, does any of the board members have any questions for staff before we open the public hearing? Okay, thank you. If not, at this time we'll open the public hearing. Is there anyone that would like to speak in favor? Okay, is there anyone that would like to speak in opposition? Do any board members have any questions?
Close the hearing.
Not? I'm gonna close the public hearing and,
Can I have a question?
Yeah.
It's too late. I can't find it right now. When we were talking about, the, living for, excuse me, the congregate living where you had, okay, there was a section in there, excuse me, that, we were talking about. I assumed it was nursing homes and
Right.
levels of care. Intermediate care, maybe for our benefit, we should add skilled care. That is another level of care that, just to cover our bases.
We can definitely look into
Okay,
that.
thank you.
Sure, yeah. Does that mean there were no changes to the congregate living definition, but we can look into if that
I would just
definition
add
needs to
that
be
skilled
expanded?
care. That's a different level of care than intermediate, and it's a different level of care, hospitalization, just to cover us. Thank you.
Any more questions from the board? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I move we recommend the approval of CTA 2022-07 Amendment 21, an amendment to the Town Code of Ordinance, Part 9, Land Development Ordinance, as presented and recommended by town staff. The text amendment improves upon the Land Development Ordinance and is reasonable and in the best interest of the public for the reasons identified by staff.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Okay. All right. Our last item is 6A, the planning staff report. Purpose of this agenda is to receive information on the disposition of the planning board's recommendations to the town board of commissioners since the September 19th, 2022 planning board meeting. Are there any questions to staff regarding this report?
No, just as usual, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Our
Very
pleasure.
nice.
Thank you.
All right. I reckon I would entertain a motion
Motion to
to
adjourn.
adjourn.
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
You'll adjourn.
Good.
First page.